Welcome to Smart Women Talk. This is your host, Katana Abbott. I'm a midlife millionaire coach and a certified financial planner, and I search the world for smart women and a few good men, including best-selling authors and thought leaders who are on that leading edge. So join us for conversations on money, business, health, and inspiration, so you can live with more purpose, passion, and prosperity. Welcome to Smart Women Talk. This is your host, Katana Abbott, and today we'll be speaking with natural vision improvement expert Claudia Muehlenweg about how to see clearly, and get this, without glasses or surgery. So Claudia and I are going to be talking about techniques to correct your vision naturally, ways to keep your eyes healthy and ageless, and the impact that screen time has on our vision. So let me tell you a little bit about Claudia. She is the founder of Holistic Vision, LLC, and the creator of Naturally Clear Vision Method. Claudia has always hated wearing glasses, so she made it her mission to help others see clearly, naturally, just as she has done. Claudia is a sought-after international speaker and workshop leader. She focuses on finding the root cause of her clients' blurry vision rather than using symptomatic treatments such as glasses, contacts, or surgery that can actually make eyesight worse in the long run. So Claudia, welcome to Smart Women Talk. I'm so happy to have you here.
Well, thank you so much, Katana, for having me. And I really loved your intro. You did a great job with my name too, which is hard for lots of Americans.
You know, I think it's important too, because when I grew up, no one could pronounce my name. Now I have an easy name, Abbott, but when I was little, it was Hutari. And so we pronounced it Hutari, and no one ever got it right. So it is really nice to be able to pronounce someone's name properly. I found you through Margie Bissinger, and she was just on the show recently, and it was just so exciting to find out what you do. And the reason is I have, this fear about being somewhere sometime and not having glasses and actually being in danger, or having a lot of stress. But I really think about, if something happened and I didn't have glasses, what would I do? Because I can't read, I can't see numbers on gauges and stuff like that, and it scares me to death. So I am just thrilled that you're here to share your wisdom with us. But before we start, because I know you're going to share a lot, just share with us a little bit. You had glasses when you were young, when you were a little girl. And now you're still young, but you don't have glasses today. What's going on here?
So my story is really interesting because there's kind of two high and two low points, so to speak. I did get glasses at age 3, and I was farsighted, meaning I couldn't see up close, and my right eye was turning in, and it's actually still a little visible sometimes for those of you watching the YouTube. So I had what's called a convergent squint. So I got these glasses, and when I'm open about my age, I'm born in 61, I'm 61 years old. So when I was in school, nobody had glasses. There was one other kid, and he was the super smart professor. And I had to really study. I was not a gifted, academic kind of child. So I got teased and bullied, and I got made fun of. I had no friends. It was like in that movie, The Mean Girls, right? I only hung out with the other nerds. But back then that wasn't cool, that nobody was called a nerd. And long story short, I remember that somebody asked me to play on the handball team, and I was not athletic. I was why? And literally, I know now they were desperate to find any kind of players. It was teenage girls handball team, and I was 12. So I started playing, and several times a week. And the coach said, "You can't wear your glasses because they were actual glass, and it's way too dangerous with a leather ball hitting your face." So in hindsight, knowing doing that and playing on the field several times a week in sunlight, and my depth perception wasn't great, and that I didn't have the prisms. And so I really trained my eyes. And now I know that, but back then I didn't know. And 3 years later, the eye doctor said, "You don't need glasses anymore." I was like, what? Suddenly I was like you talked about the handicap, I was this ugly duckling with the glasses. And then boys would be, "You have beautiful eyes." And me? And then just a few years later, and now it's a little, bear with me. A few years later, in my high school exams, I studied. I was super stressed out. You talked about that already too, the stress. And my vision got really blurry. And I was so desperate. And my parents thought like, okay, it's okay. We just take you back to the eye doctor. I'm like, no, I don't want glasses again. So I found a book on vision improvement, and that was translated from English to German in Hamburg, in Germany, in my hometown. I found one book in one bookstore, and I did all the things in there. And I was able to avoid the glasses. 20s, I went to art school. I was happy, no problem. And then in my 30s, I had already moved to America. I was in a really challenging marriage, ended in divorce as a single mom. And that was like my mid 30s. And then kind of I just turned 40 and I had this epiphany. I was wearing the glasses already again. So my vision, and it got worse and worse. And I was stressed, sleep deprived, single mom of 2 little kids. And I had this epiphany one night where I got home from a party. I tried to have fun, but I was just 40 and I felt old and I had the glasses and I took them, I got back home, I took them off, and my vision was so much blurrier than it was before I put them on. And I thought like, this is not right. This is not right. I know you're over 40 and everybody's saying, that's just when there's nothing you can do. And I went up at 1 a.m. in the morning. I went up and I searched through and I found that book and I went back to the practices. And then eventually, serendipity, my yoga teacher said, hey, I just did a natural vision teacher training and I need students to practice with them. Like, here you go. And basically that's how I really got into it for reals, and then did the teacher training and got rid of my glasses for good. Yeah. So that's my story in a really quick way.
So Claudia, that's so interesting that, the universe brought you into that path, and everything that happens to us, right? Quite often we end up using in our careers, our life purpose, let's say. So that's interesting that you happen to be there that day and be invited to be in that course.
Exactly. And like you said, it's like, it was my handicap. My vision was always my handicap, was always the problem, right? And now I turned this into my life vision and my life mission to help others. So I'm so grateful now that my vision was poor. But yeah, back then I definitely didn't feel that way about it.
I always say that you have to find the gift, and you certainly did. So I want to ask you about, you mentioned the exercises, because I shouldn't say this, but I signed up for a course one time and there was little thing with look this way, look that way, and I never even finished it because I thought this isn't going to do anything. And I wish I had, done the exercises in the program, and then I couldn't find it later on. And so you were such a blessing when I found you. And the timing was perfect because my eyes have been burning, they've been aching. And I'm an artist, and I went to my watercolor class at 4:30 at night in the evening after working at the computer all day. And I couldn't paint because my vision with glasses was so blurry. So I'm going to guess, because I'm now in your 21-day program and I'm learning all these relaxing exercises you're teaching us, that this had to do with the stress that I was under, that affected. It wasn't my glasses or something wrong. Can you talk about that a little bit? Because I'm sure I'm not the only one.
So I think this is the most common misconception, that it's eye exercises, right? Like what you just said. And I do want to say there's nothing wrong with rolling your eyes one way or the other. In eye yoga, those are practices from yoga for the eyes. And however, that can be helpful for things like astigmatism, where muscle tension is uneven. But what I teach and what really natural vision or great vision is about is being relaxed, being in a parasympathetic nervous system state, and using your eyes the way they were designed to be used. So kind of good vision habits, relaxation. And yes, some things you could technically call exercises, but most of the time the muscles around the eyes are too tight. They don't need to be strengthened. In fact, most of the time they're too tight, and tight makes them weak too, but it's not that they're just weak. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like abs where you're like, okay, I don't have any abs, the muscles need to be developed. They're just really tight. And that can squish your eyeball out of shape. And stress is definitely the most common reason that I found. That was my own experience in my life, that kind of causes that blurry vision, which to me is the engine light coming on. It's like, hello, something isn't right, but then we just ignore that. And, we would never do that to our cars, right? We would be like, okay, let's see what's going on. So, yeah.
Yeah, and you were also mentioning that when we have, eye fatigue, let's say, and we're wearing glasses, the glasses keep everything focused, but our eyes are, if we didn't have glasses, we would have to stop. I'm guessing maybe you said something like that, but is that true? Because the eye is telling you it's tired.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, with lifestyle, for instance, when you look at diet or something, like let's say you're gluten intolerant and you would eat like a donut or something, right? You get immediate stomach aches. So you're like, hey, there's a symptom coming up. And so that's the same with the blur, because the glasses allow you, and the same like if you would take pills for like, diabetes or high blood pressure or something, they allow you to kind of keep the bad habit going and not make a lifestyle change. And glasses kind of allow you to strain. And for instance, blinking is one of those things that keeps your eyes lubricated and avoid screen stress, because I'm on screen sometimes 14 hours a day and I don't have any of those symptoms, but I know what I'm doing. And if I would start staring and just looking at the screen without blinking, which now hurts my eyes, my vision my eyes would feel dry and painful. And so I would get that feedback. But glasses kind of, does that make sense? They kind of allow you to do the bad habits and still give you clarity until you've done it poorly and long enough with the bad habits. And then you're like, okay, now I need to upgrade my glasses to stronger ones.
And that's another thing. I'm due for glasses, I can tell. But I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm going to do what you're suggesting. And I don't know yet, because I'm only today is day 4. But I do know, because I participated in some of your free calls. And I do know that I am going to get inexpensive, weaker glasses. And I'm taking my like when I walk my dog, I've been taking my glasses off when I'm outside. If I'm sitting out at the lake, I would keep my glasses on so I had clarity. Well, I'm doing, even as I'm talking to you, ocean breath.
Exactly.
And I'm relaxing myself because I notice I hold a lot of tension in my body. So I have another question about the tension. So I carry so much tension in my body. Is that affecting my eyesight, my vision?
Absolutely. And this is why I like to talk about a holistic approach versus an eye doctor. They look at, and I'm showing for those listening, I'm showing a little rubber eyeball here. They're just looking at your eyeball as if it exists in isolation. So tension in your body and even in your feet, like if you're not grounded, right? If you're not grounded, like our body with the vestibular system, the eyes, the ears, we know where we are in space. Like, if you're right side up or if you're doing a handstand. So if you're not grounded, that will affect everything. That will affect, and you talked about Margie being on recently. This is all hand in hand with posture, your breath. If you don't breathe right, you might be hunched over. That leads, or if you're stressed, you have more chest breathing. And when you do more chest breathing, you get more tense in your neck muscles. And then guess what? I recently watched a dissection actually online, but there was an actual dissection of a human body, of a deceased body. And I knew that the trapezius and the neck muscles all connect to the brain and the optic system. But we actually saw that they pulled on the muscles, and you actually saw that affecting the brain. And you're like, wow, So yes, any tension in the body, even in the feet, but especially up here in the neck, shoulders, head, will 100% affect your vision.
And to the point that I sit and I actually tense up my whole body, I notice. So I have to, I tried, the breathing really does help, change the breathing. So I am really excited to learn how to reduce all my stress, and hopefully my vision gets better. And I will go get an eye test. And I know what it was last time. And it'll be so exciting to hear the doctor say, your eyesight got better.
and then you said what you did. And then usually they would be like, oh, that's not possible. I must have measured wrong the first time. That's what I hear from so many of my clients.
This doctor is so beautiful, though. This is when I heard that you said something about only 10% of vision takes place in the physical eye. 90% is processed in the brain and the visual cortex. I'll never forget that, because he explained that to me. Now, is that a normal thing that maybe he was an ophthalmologist? I think he was just optometrist, but he actually explained that to me. So I thought that was pretty interesting, because he's just dealing with my front of my eye. He wasn't dealing with anything else. But can you talk about how that actually works? Because I was excited to hear you say that.
Well, first of all, you seem to really have a great eye doctor, and there's definitely really beautiful, neuro-ophthalmologists, neuro-optometrists, out there, behavioral optometrists that really have understood the connection between the brain and the eyes. And technically, the retina is part of the brain. So it's actually the only way where we can look inside the brain, so to speak, without surgery. So the retina, but the rest of the eyeball, the lens, the iris, all the other parts, the cornea are not part of the brain. And that's why when he talked about that, that's exactly what I say. We actually see in the brain, not in the eyes. In fact, the image is upside down.
I'm going to correct you here. You said this, but
I see.
He had talked about the idea generally. And I thought that, but he didn't explain it the way you did. But when you explained it, it made so much more sense. So I do want to give you the credit. And I'm thrilled that my doctor had mentioned that, there's actually more going on than what he's doing here. So you gave him a compliment, but I really want to give the compliment to you.
Thank you. But I do want to give an example that I think is, and I think most of your listeners hopefully will remember the debate about the dress. Remember, there was a dress that was black and blue, and then some people saw it like a striped dress and saw it white and gold. I don't know if you remember, that was like probably 7-8 years ago. But there was a heated debate about this dress, and it was actually black and blue, the stripes. And a lot of people, about 50% of people said, no, it's white and gold. And I was like, how can that be? And now they solved the mystery because it was a tight crop of the image, and your brain makes assumptions. Is this photo taken during the day? Is this photo taken during the night? What kind of light situation is there? Is this a shadow? Is she in the shadow? So the brain makes assumptions, and that's what you base you're like, no. And there was almost like politics, like fierce debates. You're wrong, I'm right. The dress was actually blue and black and not white and gold. But this is what I mean. The brain makes assumptions or visual illusions, right? When you look at visual illusions, or those drawings on the sidewalk with, what are they, crayon drawings? At a certain angle, they look like a deep canyon or something, because your brain is pretty easily tricked, actually, So yeah, the eyes don't see that. It's really in the brain. And can I mention one study that I thought was really, really interesting, that really blew my mind? So that was several years ago. They did studies with people that have what used to be called multiple personality disorder, and now it's called dissociative identity disorder. So these people have different alters or personas, and what's her name? Toni Morrison, I think, played in the United States of Tara. That was a TV show. And so I'm not talking about her, but just saying that was a TV show. And she played, one of her alters was a guy. And then the other 5 were female, So they did studies with these people in these different alters. And they found that in some personas, they had perfect eyesight, 20/15. And in other personas, they were really nearsighted and could not see the big E on the eye chart. And even the intraocular pressure, the color perception, all these things were different. And we're talking about the same physical body, right? If that doesn't blow your mind, right? That the brain is really the driver of your vision, what else does?
So it's really, some people think it's like your eyes are like a TV, like a camera, and there's a TV screen inside your head, right? Yeah. And you're seeing things, whatever you're seeing, it's just reflecting in somehow, and the mind is seeing this. And really it's going through, it's being broken down and being processed in the brain somehow. That is just so interesting. So that makes the kind of work you're doing even more interesting, because it's not like you're teaching someone, how to read an eye chart differently or something like that. You're actually doing something. So tell us, what in the heck are you doing?
So yeah, there's so many components, but relaxation, and that's the program that you're taking, the 21 days to better eyesight experience, is really about the foundation of relaxations in eyes, body, and mind. And I say eyes and body, and eyes is really because we do specific practice for eye relaxation. However, like Dr. Bates, the founder of Natural Vision Improvement, really said, if the mind is at rest, nothing can strain the eyes. But if the mind is, strained, nothing can rest them. And so it's always a combination of this, resting the mind, like think about meditation, right? Yes, we do a practice called palming, where we close the eyes and we cover them with our cupped hands. But if you're now in your mind, racing thoughts or all the stuff you have to do, you're not going to be able to relax. So it's really, relaxation is the foundation. And then also the mental aspect of imagining, visualizing, and visual memory is connected to your eyesight, because now we can see in scans, if you look at something, let's say I look at my hand, or I close my eyes and have a memory or imagine my hand, the visual cortex fires up exactly the same. So, using imagination, let's say, for instance, you mentioned the chart. There's actually ways to work with the eye chart where you have a clear, a clear memory of a letter, and you also have, without glasses, a blurry one, and you now can imagine the blurry one clear. And that imagination alone puts you into a different relaxed state, and also in a different perceptive state that you can actually see it clearly. So this is not just a quick little thing, but this is a practice. So instead of saying, I'm blind like a bat, and hear so many people say that, I'm blind like a bat. I'm like, really? Wow, I didn't know you can't even see me. Oh, no, I can see you. You're just blurry. I'm like, okay, so you're not actually blind as a bat, because bats can see anything.
Yes.
So changing your narrative is also really important.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Well, it's really, really exciting. So let's talk about the idea, like right now I'm wearing glasses. Sometimes I'll wear contacts. How does that affect the eyesight?
So like we talked a little bit about earlier, glasses allow you to basically continue bad habits, and they don't address the root cause. And the root cause is usually, like I said, some kind of stress or trauma, or it depends, like if you got your glasses in childhood. I often ask, like, was there anything that happened during the time or the couple of years before you got your glasses? And more often than not, I hear we moved a lot, my parents divorced, somebody died, I was bullied in school, a lot of these things. Or when you're older, maybe you have like I did, right? I went through the stressful divorce and was a single mom. So a lot of times, the glasses then are just treating a symptom. It's like a Band-Aid, or it's like how a lot of Western medicine really operates. And Western medicine is great for emergencies, or there's nothing else that works. But glasses allow you, they actually change the shape of your eyeball. So they actually help you become more farsighted or become more nearsighted by putting these lenses in front. And, so they create this artificial clarity, but that allows you to still, again, have the bad habits going on, and they distort everything. Remember, like when you're nearsighted, everything is shrunken, and when you're farsighted, everything is magnified and made larger. So there's a distortion going on. And that's why so many people initially, when they get glasses, it's like, kind of, oh, get this off my face. It feels weird. So that's really, you really have to address the root cause. And that could be, stress is just it's like, maybe sounds like an, simplified term, but that really encompasses so many things. It could be emotional trauma. It could be mental stress. It could be physical stress, sleep deprivation. I mean, it could be stress on your body from inflammation. I mean, there's so many different ways that stress can manifest, right?
Wow. Yeah. Wow. So why is it every single time we go to the eye doctor, then we have to get a stronger prescription? Is because they tell us because we're getting older.
Right. So, basically because you continue to use the bad habits. And I always say, you start with reading glasses and you might have perfect distance vision. I don't know if that was the case for you, but maybe you had perfect, like 2015, really super eagle eye vision. Now you're starting with the readers, like once in a while when it's small print or when it's dim, and then you wear them a little bit more often, then you wear them all the time. And then the +1 becomes the 1.5, and then it becomes a +2. And then you go to the eye doctor and they said, ooh, your distance vision, we need to give you progressives or bifocals. And you're like, what happened? Like I always had great eagle eyes, because that massive strain you do at the near point now affects your focusing ability and for your eyes to actually move freely and accommodate to different distances. And now you have no more clarity at any distance. Mm-mm. And bifocals and progressives cause a whole lot of other can of worms, which is about the astigmatism, which has been found to be related to posture and eye scanning and head movements. So yeah, I can go on and on, but I know you probably have more questions.
Well, no, and that's part of it, because I have fallen several times because of my progressive glasses. And because I can't see, especially coming downstairs, it can be very scary.
Yeah, and so this is what I say about progressive glasses. So that's the idea. First of all, diopters only correct you for one distance. So when you get readers, you get them for reading distance for 16 inches, 40 centimeters. When you are nearsighted, you get them for driving, for 20 feet distance for far away. And, you don't really want to use the glasses for another distance, but a lot of nearsighted people wear them on the computer all day, which is 2 feet away. So you're already putting massive strain on your eyes because that diopter is way too much for the near distance, right? So then eventually they're like, well, now you need different strength for different distances, which your natural eye usually accommodates for. And then the bifocals or the progressives assume when you look down that you're reading. But like you said, you walk down a flight of stairs or you go hiking. And now what's supposed to be 16 inches distance is now depending on how tall you are. And that leads to so many falls. And, when you fall, and especially when you get older, that there's a way higher risk of this not healing properly. And then the other thing is when you look straight ahead through your progressives, but let's say you're at the computer. Now I see people all the time, with a chin up, like looking through the lower part of the glasses. And then guess what? That creates an astigmatism axis of 134, 135, 45. So there's a correlation to progressives I get everybody out of progressives. That's the first thing we do. No more progressives because they're not only really expensive, however, and they also lead to more and more vision problems.
Okay, so I would like to talk to you about surgery because I have a friend and she had LASIK twice now, and now she's back wearing glasses again. And she told me that she is in danger of tearing her retina. And I think she's even had some surgery. It's so scary. To me, eyes are just so delicate. So can you talk about what's going on there?
Yeah, so basically just for those of you listening, I'm having my eyeball again. And basically, when you're nearsighted, your eyeball is a little elongated. And when you're farsighted, your eyeball is a little too short, right? So it's a little short. That's why the focal point doesn't fall on the retina. It falls in front or behind it. So much like glasses, basically, as long as you have this correction, like I always think like a cast. If you break your arm and you have a cast, like there's no way for this to change, right? The eye muscles, even if they would relax it, they can't really change because now it's kind of locked in. And I have to backtrack a little bit. They did animal experiments with chickens, monkeys, and frogs, where they put some animals got minus contact lenses and some animals got plus contact lenses, and the eyeball changed so that they could see clearly. So then the chickens or the monkeys that got the minus lenses, the eyeballs grew long, and the ones that got the plus lenses. So we haven't done studies on humans, but think about it. It makes sense, right? It's like our eyeball adjusts to the lens. So now you get LASIK, which is a contact lens that you can ever take out. It's like it's engraved in your cornea. It's how often your vision changes. So now I always say, isn't that scary? Based on the measurement on a given day, because maybe you were really stressed, maybe your vision would have been better. Now they engrave this on your cornea. You can't change it, and remember the diopters only work for one distance. So now, let's say she was nearsighted. I'm assuming she was nearsighted. Most LASIK is for nearsightedness where you can't see the distance very well. So now she's corrected for 20 feet now, but now she spends all this time looking up close, creating this extra pull and this extra strain on her eyes. And when you're young, you can kind of, literally pull this off. But as you get older, now this is tiring and exhausting. And that's when I think the longest I've heard was like 12 years. And then you're going to be in glasses, and now you have to put readers on top of your minus whatever your original prescription was, right? So to give you an example, if somebody I had a student with a minus 10, really, really, really high myopia, and they did a LASIK, and now they had to wear readers of +4. And she said, now I'm farsighted. I'm like, not really. You're still nearsighted, but minus 10 + 4 is -6. What you really would need for reading is a -6. But you have to put the readers on top because you can't change the LASIK, if that makes sense.
Wow.
Yeah. And dry eyes, halos around lights, common side symptoms. So LASIK is, I know a lot of people that are happy, but I always say, talk to me in 10 years, and then we will go from there.
Well, and now I see on the commercials that they have eye drops so you can read.
Yeah, so the eye drops that you can read. So those are, first of all, they're not cheap. You have to use them every single day, several times, 3 times a day. So they don't, and they help you, with the whole, like I haven't read the whole underlying study, but they help you with the lens and the flexibility and this general eye health. But you can do that with natural method. And this stuff isn't cheap. And again, yes, now you're tethered to the eye drops because now you, like you talked about, you're afraid you lose your glasses and you can't see anything. Now you lose the eye drops or you don't have them, you're traveling. It's to me, this is like, okay, maybe you don't have a frame on your face, but it's not really solving the problem.
Okay, and I have one more important question because we are all out in the sun now too. The summer is coming. Is it important to wear sunglasses? Because I actually have prescription sunglasses with what is it called? What you
transition where they get darker.
And also with the reading and the distance. I have the whole, and they were so expensive, I couldn't believe it. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to do your course. And should I even wear sunglasses? Are sunglasses good for us?
Okay. So you can probably guess that I'm going to say no, but I also do want to give a disclaimer before we get into this, because I really want to make sure that nobody throws their sunglasses away. So extreme conditions, skiing, and in snow and bright sunlight, on the ocean, and if you have certain eye conditions, like even macular degeneration, there's certain eye conditions where I would definitely be careful with the sun. Like maybe not in the middle of the day. I would maybe not wear sunglasses in the morning, in the evening, but maybe in the middle of the day. So there is exceptions, but I'm talking about regular, non-extreme conditions. You don't take any light sensitizing drug, like photosensitizing drugs, because here's the thing, we have built-in sunglasses and they're called pupils. And if you have a healthy eye and it's bright, they get really small. And when it's dark, they open up to maximum aperture, like a camera in this case, right? So if your pupillary reaction is inhibited by some kind of drug or there's some issue with your eyes, then sunglasses are super important. But however, let's assume you're healthy, you're in a normal sunglasses. Like I said, the pupils are actually our sunglasses, and we need blue light. We need the sunlight for our circadian rhythm. So that's why we now, even science podcasts now talk about how important it is to get sunlight into your eyes first thing in the morning and also in the evening at sunset, so that your circadian rhythms stay in place. And I give you an example. I used to be super light sensitive. I wore sunglasses on overcast days, and my night driving, I couldn't drive at night. The bright headlights would really bother me. I would flip my rearview mirror, and kind of hide behind the A-pillar in my car so that so it was really bothering me if there was a big SUV behind me with these xenon headlights. Now, because my pupils were really sluggish, they didn't learn to close and open quickly. And then I stopped wearing sunglasses, and now night driving, I can look into the brightest headlamps. Not that I would do that on purpose, but it wouldn't bother me anymore. And one more thing I want to say, your brain actually emits melanin, that tans us based on the light information coming in through the eyes. Now you have these dark sunglasses on. So first of all, there's studies that show that the risk of sunburn is way higher when you wear sunglasses, because your brain is thinking, hey, it's not that bright outside, and maybe think about it. Let's say you're sitting at your beautiful Lake Michigan house, whatever, right? And it's really warm. And let's say the sun is shining and you have your sunglasses on, but you don't, it's nice, it's perfect. And you're like, I can be in the sun. It's a little wind, maybe a little breeze, and it feels good. But if you were to take them off, you would be like, wow, it's really bright. Maybe I should be in the shade. Your whole system is kind of basically made to believe that it's not really that sunny, and you don't take the protection. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yes. Oh my gosh, this has been so interesting. So I would love for you to tell everyone about your program that you have. Is there anything that else that you wanted to mention before that? Because I want people to know how they can connect with you. And I know you have a beautiful ebook that you can share with them with a lot of information.
Yeah, so the ebook is just a really great way, because we didn't talk a lot today about what they can actually do. So the ebook gives you 10 habits, and it includes the sunlight, and I talk about astigmatism and posture. I talk about resting your eyes with palming. I talk about blinking and the relaxation, and the first exercise I learned back then when I was 17 years old. So that book is really chock full of information. So that's a really great way to just get started and just kind of learn a little bit about what you can do. And then I have a program that you're in right now. It's called 21 Days to Better Eyesight Experience. And that teaches you the foundations, and I teach it through vision practice. I like to call them eye practices or vision practices instead of exercises, breath practices, because like you said, when you don't breathe right, the brain needs more oxygen than any other part of the body, and the eyes are part of the brain, the retina. So if we don't have proper blood flow, that's when we get nerve damage, when we get all these eye problems, is also because the blood is not flowing. So so that's one thing I teach in there, is like kind of the breath, how to improve that. And also I teach something called what I call roll and relax. I'm certified in a method called role model method, and it basically is like myofascial self-release. Like you get little balls and you massage your tension away. Remember that it's also contributing to limited blood flow, and the posture also, right? When you're hunched over, you want to make sure that you have the freedom in your body. And then obviously we do lots of vision practices in there. So that gives you like the foundation of, you have a solid foundation in that program. And then I have another program that's a bigger program called Naturally Clear Vision. That's where we really get into eye charts and measuring your vision and getting into Riga glasses. So that's in the bigger program, is where I really dissect you and teach you exactly what those numbers mean, so that you will never feel like, I don't know if I'm far or nearsighted. What does this cylinder and axis mean? And what does AD mean? Is it ADD? Like, what does that mean? So I teach all that in my bigger program.
So if someone were to come to your site, can they get the ebook? Can they buy it, or do they get it for free?
The ebook is free. You can download that on my website. And then also the 21-day program is also listed on my website. And the bigger program, that's more when I educate people a little bit more in a workshop, before joining that program. So, but the 21-day program, you can join on my website. Depending on when this airs, there's also certain times of the year where I don't run it, but usually we run it almost every month. So you can kind of join it whenever it's convenient for you.
Wonderful. Wonderful. That is so great. Thank you for coming here and sharing your wisdom. We knew summer was coming, and we wanted to do something with skin and eyes. And this is even better than I imagined.
Thank you so much. And I do want to say one last thing about the sun. If you're like really light sensitive, you learn baby steps in the 21-day program, and wear a cap, wear a hat that's really good for your face, for your skin also. So that's what I usually do if it's really bright. And the 21-day program is really designed, because you and I talked a little bit before the recording, it's really designed for anybody that's super busy. You're like, hey, I don't have time. I don't have more than 5 minutes a day to do something. That's the whole purpose of this program, is to give you something. And it ends with a clear morning ritual that you can customize, so that you have a little morning, just like you brush your teeth, you have a little visual routine that you can do in the morning. So that's the kind of gist of this program, is to make it super easy to learn, and you get coaching from me in this program, and you have a little protocol that you can customize that you can then continue to use, for the rest of your life. And
I did order the balls, and they just arrived today.
Okay, that's the only two that we come in.
And I haven't gotten to that part yet. So, give your website. How is anyone going to find you?
So myholisticvision.com is my website, myholisticvision.com. So that's where you can download my free ebook called 10 Habits for Healthy and Happy Eyes. It's the ebook. And you can also learn more about the 21-day program on that website.
Okay.
And then I have Instagram and YouTube and everything else, that you're probably going to list in the show notes.
And what are those under?
So Instagram is Holistic Vision Coach. And then my YouTube is a longer title. I have to actually get a good URL. But basically, if you Google Holistic Vision in my name, you will find my YouTube channel also.
Okay. Claudia Muehlenweg.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Wonderful. Okay. Thank you. So, and we will have this all over our Facebook, and you're on our website now, on our blog. And of course, for those watching the video, you got all these URLs, because Lynn is going to put those into the video for us. Okay. Claudia, thank you so much for being here. I'm just thrilled to have you, and we'll stay in touch.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. So everyone, I hope you enjoyed this show. I sure did. Thank you for joining. And for those of you who would like to know who's coming on, get their free gifts, because those who are on our mailing list at Smart Women, Smart Choices, that's our easing, you actually got access to a lot of the free gifts and the ebook because we send it out. So if you want to be part of our community and also be able to go to the Smart Women Academy and access our courses there, you can go to joinsmartwomen.com. And when you do, you'll get our monthly theme-based easing, and you'll know who's on the shows. You'll also be invited to the Academy. So don't forget to subscribe to Smart Women Talk and, like us. And you can go to smartwomentv.com and you can subscribe to the TV version. So until next show, go out and live with more purpose, passion, and prosperity. Smart Women Talk is brought to you by Smart Women's Empowerment, a 501c3 nonprofit project of United Charitable. Music by Bill Lucas from his album When It Rains. Available on Apple Music and Spotify. Catch us wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, and be sure to join our free community at joinsmartwomen.com to access all our free Smart Women resources.